Good evening. If everybody could please take a seat. The INSA team has told me everyone's having way too much fun networking, but now it's time to really get down to business. So I want to welcome you all to the 2022 Achievement Awards. I'm Suzanne Wilson Heckenberg, the president of INSA. We are pleased to recognize and celebrate some extraordinary new leaders in intelligence, Homeland, and national security with you this evening, and are delighted to be doing this in person. Thank you. So for those of you who are new to INSA, the idea for these awards was first championed by former board member Eris Pappas, who in 2009 noted that INSA offered a much coveted lifetime award, but didn't have anything to recognize emerging leaders in the community. A lively conversation ensued at our board meeting, as you can imagine, and a pivotal decision was made to connect the recognition of new leaders to our Baker Award, which honors individuals for a lifetime of achievement. In 2010, the Achievement Awards were launched, each named after a former Baker recipient. And thanks to the vision and, quite honestly, the steadfast perseverance of then INSA President Ellen McCarthy, the program was quickly embraced by the private, public, and academic sectors and is now one of our marquee events. But before we get started, I want to acknowledge INSA's Intelligence Champions Council, who plays an instrumental role in this evening's awards. Throughout the year, this council strives to encourage careers in the intelligence and national security community, including significant behind-the-scenes work with the Achievement Awards. I want to thank our chair, Cameron Ward Hunt, as well as Colleen Ecker for their service to INSA in support of this crucial event. Now, it is my pleasure to welcome Tish Long, INSA chair, to the stage. Tish, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Suzanne, and good evening to everyone. There are some seats sprinkled in. I see a lot of folks standing. So raise your hand if you got a seat beside you. Come on down so you don't have to stand the whole time. All right. As Suzanne said, it is so good to be back here in person. And I will tell you, it is such an honor to share this celebratory evening with everyone. Tonight, we recognize 6 individuals for their extraordinary contributions to U.S. intelligence and national security. They exemplified leadership, professionalism, and commitment to excellence. Congratulations to our recipients: Katie, Mary Lisa, Mary Ann, Jamie, Shadi, and Master Sergeant Harris. I am in awe of your many accomplishments. You fill me with inspiration and hope for our collective future. How about a round of applause? And there will, of course, be much more said about their accomplishments. Now, our honorees work long hours, sometimes far from home, even during a pandemic, and this commitment to service demands a lot of their family and friends. I'd therefore like to extend a special welcome to our family members and friends of our recipients. We recognize your support and sacrifice as well. Please join me in a round of applause for the families and friends. And I have really enjoyed meeting a number of parents, new husbands, fiancés. So it's just so good to see everyone here, all the support. It does take a village, we know that. I'd also like to welcome our keynote speaker, DIA Director Scott Berrier. Thank you, Scotty, for your continued support of INSA and for being here tonight. We look forward to your remarks in just a few minutes. Now, as Suzanne mentioned, each of the Achievement Awards is named after a recipient of the William Oliver Baker Award, which recognizes lifetime achievement in intelligence and national security. One of our award namesakes, Admiral Bill Studeman, is here with us tonight and will present the award bestowed in his name. Bill, once again, we are so pleased to have you with us this evening. Thank you. We also have Daniel Drell, who will present the Science and Technology Award named for his father, Dr. Sidney Drell. Thank you for being here, Dan. Good to see you again as well. Former INSA President Chuck Alsop is here to present the Homeland Security Award on behalf of his dear friend and mentor, the late Senator John Warner. Thank you, Chuck, for joining us. Pam, thank you as well for joining us. I'm especially pleased to see so many senior leaders here tonight. NRO Director Scalise, Department of Energy Deputy Undersecretary Tilden. We have not had a chance to meet yet. We'll talk afterwards. That's not a, it's just energy. Yeah, it's just energy. DHS Homeland Security Investigations Director Francis. And we're just very honored that you all took the time to be with here this evening. Now, a special shout out for NGA Director Admiral Bob Sharp, who has been a mainstay at this event each year. Now, we were talking about this earlier, and we did check our records. You were actually at the very first Achievement Award back in 2010. You were the Joint Staff J2. And I think you have been here every year since, Bob, if you weren't deployed. So thanks for all of your support. Thank you for your continued leadership. And we look forward to celebrating your many career accomplishments at the Leadership Luncheon next month. So, well done. Now, we cannot do an event. I'm just wondering how I skipped over, and it's not in my remarks, Ms. Ellen McCarthy, the Honorable, is here with us this evening and will be presenting an award as well. Ellen, welcome. Now, we can't do an event like this without sponsors. They make this first-class evening possible. I'd like to recognize Esri, Hawkeye 360, Leidos, Mantech, and Penn State Applied Research Lab. Please join me in a round of applause. I still see 6 open seats for those of you who are standing. I don't know, maybe you want to make a quick getaway at some point, but just saying. All right, now we are going to move on to the program. I would like to welcome Nicoya Sani, Vice President at Mantech, to introduce our keynote speaker. Nicoya.
Thank you, Tish. Good evening, everyone. I am Nicoya Sani, Vice President of Mantech's Mission Intelligence Division, and it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's keynote, Lieutenant General Scott Berrier, Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. With nearly 2 decades of experience in the U.S. Army, Lieutenant General Berrier is a highly respected leader in the military intelligence sphere and in the public arena on programs such as CBS News Intelligence Matters, where he has explained the evolving threats from China, Russia, and other unfriendly nation states, and DIA's important Title 50 work in collecting and analyzing intelligence that keeps our nation ahead of such foes. From the outset of his career, while in the ROTC at the University of Wisconsin, he set out to be in military intelligence. Few have ever reached the peak of the career ladder with greater success, which is a testament to his dedication to this field. I know we are in for a very insightful presentation this evening. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Lieutenant General Scott Berrier.
Good morning, or good evening, everybody. Good morning. Hey, listen, this is an honor to be here. Tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about leadership and mentorship. And Bob Sharp and I were talking that when we were speaking, and when Tish Long calls and says, "Hey, would you?" The only answer is yes, because she has been a leader and a mentor to us for many, many years. So Tish, thanks for your stalwart leadership and everything that you've done for the community. Thank you. We are going to talk about leadership and mentorship, but I think I need to start off with a somber note and then a serious note. So the somber note. 2 weeks ago, we lost a tremendous intelligence leader in our community, Major General Gary Johnston. Many of you know and love Gary. He was my dear friend, and I know that he was retired from the INSCOM commanding general job and finding his way, and we lost him. And there are a lot of questions about that, but we feel for him, his family, his children, and we're so sorry that he is gone. And so I just wanted to express that to all of you who may be hurting right now. I know many of us are, and there will be a memorial service for Gary tomorrow and then an interment on Friday. So we wish Gary's family all the best. We're thinking of them, and rest in peace, Gary. Now a serious note. As we gather here this evening, thousands of intelligence professionals from across every organization are working on the Russia and Ukraine problem and have been so for weeks, if not months. And what I can tell you about that on behalf of DI, at least the hundreds, almost 1,000 people that are working on this problem, they are dedicated, and I think it's fitting to recognize all of them across the entire U.S. intelligence community for delivering what I would call decision advantage information to our national security leaders, our decision makers, our policy makers. I believe they're very, very well informed of the current situation, and I can tell you with great certainty that this team will be on it. Nobody knows how it will end. We all have an idea, but there are great professionals working very, very diligently right now to make sure that we have all of the information. So for them, I'm going to say let's give them a round of applause. So let me start this discussion on leadership with a story. And this story goes back to 2001 at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, in the pre-command course. So for all of you that are familiar with the Army system, they take these lieutenant colonels and colonels and put them into this pre-command course to get them ready for command. Happens at Fort Leavenworth, where the Combined Arms Center is, and your spouses join you at this event. And so Andy and I were there, and they put you up in this thing called Hogue Barracks. Hogue Barracks used to be this barracks for Army captains who would go to Fort Leavenworth for a staff school. That shut down. You're smiling because you know exactly what I'm talking. You probably went there. You probably stayed in Hogue Barracks. The good thing about Hogue Barracks, it was kind of a dive, and still is kind of a dive. The good thing about it, though, there was a bar in the basement of Hogue Barracks. Yeah, so Andy, yeah, I was familiar with that bar. Andy and I were in that bar. We were alone during this course, and we were working on our personal leadership philosophy and the philosophy of the battalion's family readiness group. And the bartender, whom I had recognized from 12 years earlier before, was the manager. She was a Korean American lady, and she was listening to Andy and I dialogue about what our leadership philosophy should be. And she had been listening to it, and she came over and she said, "This is really easy. Just don't be an ass." That's what she said. And so we kind of stepped back. Number one, she was kind of intruding in our space. But I can't tell you how many times that Annie and I have been in a situation where somebody was being that, and we looked at each other and said, she ought to go see the bartender. And it really, when it boils down to it, an element of leadership is just not being that way. One of my favorite quotes about leadership is from Colin Powell, and he said, "Leadership is solving problems. The day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day that you have stopped leading them." And I think good leaders always move to friction, and moving to friction means that you're doing your best to try and solve problems. And in the world of national security, in the world of intelligence, we need leaders who will move to friction, who will bring the issues out, and who will talk about it. So you asked the question, what is good leadership? I think the best definition for me comes from a book, and it's the 1942 Army Officer's Guide. This is an old book. And in that book, there is a speech that was given in 1926 by a guy named Brigadier General Murch Stewart. Now, Murch Stewart was an interesting guy. He had served in the Spanish-American War. He won the Distinguished Service Cross in World War I as a division chief of staff. And at the time, he was probably the Army's most learned scholar on leadership. And Murch talked about the 6 qualities and attributes that make a good leader. And he said, and I'll quote, "They constitute the foundation upon which every man must build his leadership." Now, he said man. We'll give him a little pass for that because it was almost 100 years ago now. If he were here today, he would say man, woman, you know what I mean. So let's consider these foundational leadership qualities that Murch was talking about. And there are 6 of them, and these really apply to uniformed service members and civilians. Makes no difference. A leader is a leader. And so here they are. The first one is a dominant sense of duty. Dominant sense of duty. Think of guys like Vice Admiral Trey Whitworth. Think of guys like Chris Scalise. Think of guys like Bob Sharp. Think of guys like Mike Studeman, who have this dominant sense of duty, who are dialed in to what the mission is and are relentless in the pursuit of that. Think about professionals across our IC that have this dominant sense of duty every day. Number 2, superior professional ability. Think of those skilled professionals working across the IC, collection, analysis. Think of the IT systems that we need. Think of the advancements we need to make. These are studied, trained masters of their craft. Number 3, an utmost sense of honesty and justice. When I hear that, I think about integrity, the integrity to do what's right, which flows into the next 2. Number 4, unquestioned moral and physical courage. We understand the physical courage to kick in a door at night and go dispatch bad guys, but do we really understand the moral courage to tell the truth, to stand up, to fight for what is right, and to hold to a position, or have the sense to be able to modify your position if the information is there in front of you, and have the bravery to do that. The last one is the 5th one is high moral character, knowing what is right from wrong and always doing the right thing, and demanding the same from others. But here is his last attribute, which I find to be the most interesting and one that we never really talk about. And this is humanness. Humanness. So what did Murch mean when he said that? He actually meant that in the context of leadership, this means that you be yourself. You be real. You acquire some humility. You acquire a sense of humor, and you don't have to use your rank to get things done. So, taking off from Murch's 6 attributes of a good leader, I've seen really 2 kinds of leaders. I've seen the kinds of leaders who inspire those to get things done, and I've seen the kinds of leaders who intimidate and scare people to get things done. Thankfully, there aren't a lot of those leaders in our ranks, and we certainly don't want those. I would suggest that Murch's 6 attributes of leadership, maybe the most important one being humanness, is the kind of leader that you want to be, that you inspire to be, and that we are producing across the intelligence community as we speak. So, to Murch, thank you. I think those are sound lessons, almost 100 years on now. The question, though, becomes, so how do you do that? How do you put it into place? And I would suggest that there are 2 models that you could use to put that kind of leadership into place. The first one is this servant leadership model. You've probably read about it, you've heard about it. It's this notion of you have to serve first before you can lead. And if you are a leader, being a servant leader means that you put your people first. It means you put yourself last. And it means that if you're a leader in a unit, it means you go to the chow line last. You're not there first. Servant leadership, committing to something and committing to it and knowing that it's bigger than yourself. The second model is what I would call the engaged leadership model. Now, in the Army, I would say the engaged leadership model is the serious meddling in the lives of others. My wife doesn't like that word, meddling. And in the intelligence community, it's probably not the right word. So what we have to say here, it's probably the serious interest in your people, because you don't want to meddle in people's lives. But when you're talking about an 18-year-old soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, sometimes you have to do a little bit of meddling to understand what they're doing on Friday night, so they come back Monday ready for duty. But what I mean by that in the intelligence community is that you show a serious interest in who they are. You get to know their family a little bit. You understand what they're going through. You share your vision with them. You involve them in all aspects of the organization, and you empower them to act. And you allow them to see the humanness in you. Back to number 6 from Merch, humanness. And I think leveraging these two models is really a good idea for somebody who aspires to be a leader within the IC. And as an engaged leader, I want to always take the opportunity to welcome new DIA members to the team, and we do that through a class called Touchstone. For every new employee that comes to DIA, they go through this. It's about a week long, and it sort of gives them an overview of DIA and the IC. I'm sure you guys do the same thing. And at that class, I always talk about mentorship. So allow me to shift into mentorship for a bit here. At that Touchstone class, I always talk about the secret sauce of success for an intelligence professional, and it's an acronym. And there's going to be a test on this when we're done. And the acronym is RPMI: relationships, partnership, mentorship, and integration. And if you can master these things, you're probably going to go a long way within our intelligence community. But let me back up a little bit, because RPMI just didn't happen. I started thinking about this a long time ago, and it goes back to a Ranger School class I had in 1987. For those of you that are Rangers, you know what I'm talking about. It's a 2.5-month leadership course. They basically starve you and deprive you of sleep to teach you how to be a leader. In that class, I learned this acronym, PRSC, the elements of a combat patrol. In other words, get 12 people moving in the same direction, deliver them safely, and accomplish the mission. You have to plan, you have to do recon, you have to have security, and you got to have control, right? Command and control, you got to understand what's happening. That is the only thing that I remember from that 2.5-month drill of torture. That's it, PRSC. So when I came home from that, I delivered PRSC to my family and my kids. I'm not kidding you. I did. Because, no, seriously, this is an outline to how to operate in your life. You want to keep kids from clomping around in the dark, imbue PRSC on them. So it kind of gave them this structure. And as they got older, I'd say, hey, you're going to a dance, PRSC, you know what I'm talking about, which means be home by 11 o'clock, make sure you have your phone, no drinking and driving. Going on spring break, you better PRSC that. So they had this structure, and they had it down. It's funny now they'll sign off on emails and text them and say, Dad, love you, PRSC. The P is for partying. The R is for rest. And I wouldn't even tell you what they say about the S. I'm not gonna go there. But you can see how when you have this thing, PRSC, RPMI, they kind of stick with you. So let me break out RPMI a little bit for you. So fast forward to 2015. Many of you know the great deputy commander out at Fort Huachuca, a guy named Jeff Jennings, longtime Army intel guy. He and I were talking about PRSC. He had the same experience, and he said, hey, we need an acronym for an intel professional. And so we came up with this thing: relationships, partnership, mentorship, integration. And so relationships, so important in the business that we have and the work that we must do. There are folks in here who have had lifelong relationships with one another, and that's really, really important, because at the end of the day, what I want you to bring to DIA as a leader is your network, because networks get things done. Relationships flow into partnerships, and partnerships are really this deep professional relationship that we have that actually comes together in an alliance to move things and get things done. And so there's an equation: relationships plus partnerships equal trust. And trust is how you get things done in our business. We all have bureaucracies, right? NGA has a huge bureaucracy, really, really painful. NRO, huge bureaucracy. NSA, the worst. DIA, maybe just a little bit of bureaucracy. The only way you conquer bureaucracies is through trust, and it's the activation of the BroNet and the SysNet. You know what I mean? You pick up a phone and call, you hit the Tandberg, hey, I need help with something. And I'm asking you because we have a relationship, it's a partnership, I trust you, can you help me? And so this is how things get done. Trust is the foundation for everything in our business. So we've covered R, we've covered P, now let's cover M, mentorship. So what is a mentor? Mentors guide, encourage the growth and development in your own way, not in their way. Mentors strengthen and transfer our culture, our values, knowledge from one generation to another. We have a responsibility to bring up the next generation. So in picking a mentor, I would say find somebody you respect. Make that somebody who is an inspirational leader, somebody who meets number 6 on the scale of humanness that Murch brought us. And also, if you can, add a little bit of diversity in there, because diversity in a mentor is only going to make you a better intelligence officer over time. Mentorship, really, really, really important. And so here's the really cool thing about mentorship. So you'll pick a mentor, and then guess what? 5 or 7 years later, somebody's going to ask you to be a mentor. What's the answer to that? There's only one answer. Yes, of course, I will be your mentor. DIA has a mentoring program. I'm proud to say we have 350 registered mentors. I challenge you all to look at your own organizations and develop a mentorship program because it is how we bring the next generation up. So we've covered the R, we've covered the P, we've covered the M. Let's talk a little bit about the I, which is integration. Really, the understanding of how you fit in at no matter what level that you're at, how your team supports the office supports the division supports the directorate supports the agency, and the agency supports the Department of Defense or the nation. How do you fit into that? Really important to understand your piece of that puzzle, really, really important for you to develop the network so that as you're working toward that agency or mission goal, you have the right people in the right place that can help you along the way. It's so important for us to apply this as we think about how to outthink, outpace, and outperform our strategic competitors. INSA models this really well by leveraging a diverse workforce and expansive public and private partnerships to accomplish the intelligence and national security priorities we have. So my hat's off to INSA. So to reiterate, PRSC, Planning, Reconnaissance, Security, and Control. RITME, Relationships, Partnership, Mentorship, Integration. Don't forget the equation, R plus P equals T. A relationship that turns into a partnership equals trust. Sharp, I trust you. Scalise, I trust you. Don't let me down. And once you have trust, really the sky's the limit. So let me congratulate all of our award recipients tonight. It's so cool to be here. It's an honor for us to observe this and be a part of it. And with that, I'll turn the program back over to the INSA team, and thanks so much.
RPMI, Relationships, Partnerships, Mentorship, and Integration.
Pass. That's an A.
Couldn't have said it better. Scotty, thank you so much. Your remarks were spot on. And please accept a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much.
For sharing those remarks with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Now it is on to the awards. We will keep the presentations brief to leave as much time as possible for our recipients to share their thoughts and perspectives on public service. Here to introduce our first award recipient, and Scotty, our first award is the Mentorship Award. So we were listening in advance. But here's my remarks about Ms. Ellen McCarthy, my good friend, the Honorable Ellen McCarthy, who will present the Joan A. Dempsey Mentorship Award. Ellen.
So I caught brief, so we'll make this fast. Thank you, Tish. I am delighted to be here tonight to present the Mentorship Award to Katie Ann Naquin Hopkins. She's a Senior Business Development Manager for Altana AI and the co-founder of the Command Purpose Foundation. So Katie is a natural leader. She's got this incredible sense of talent and this incredible ability to motivate. I mean, I can say, because I know Katie, that she has helped just hundreds of women across the intelligence and the national security community find their purpose, find their goals, grow in their careers. And I know that because Katie has done that for me. As I was transitioning out of government, Katie approached me about a mentoring opportunity, and as I'm sitting here talking to her, I realized that she was actually mentoring me, and we've maintained that relationship now for a year. So thank you, Katie, because I am one of those hundreds of women who've benefited from you. I do believe you're an old soul. I've told you that a million times. And that makes sense that she would co-found the Command Purpose Foundation, which really is an organization that's dedicated to helping veteran women transition to civilian life. So it makes perfect sense. She has spent hundreds of hours defining the purpose of this foundation, gathering resources, establishing the program, and as a result of Katie's efforts, there's now over 100 members in this organization, and she's held numerous workshops that have helped veterans get a sense of what their strengths are and sort of rediscover who they are and how they can succeed in the private sector. That's no small feat, Katie. As Karen Gibson, retired Army General Karen Gibson, now Senate Sergeant of Arms, said in her recommendation letter, and I'm going to have to read this, "It's exceedingly rare to find a young leader like Katie who identifies unmet needs beyond the scope of their duties, then creates an entire organization and supporting community from scratch to meet those needs, bettering society as a result." And that's just Katie. And when she's not working multiple full-time jobs and running Command Purpose, she also serves on the organizing committee of the Amazing Women of the IC, where she's developed and led just incredible mentoring sessions, network events, and she's one of the founders of one of the most listened to podcast in the country, in the world, the Iron Butterfly podcast, which tells the stories of women's leaders, intelligence, and national security. I can't tell you how many times I've said to Katie, where do you find the time? And while she's doing all of this, she's getting married, changing jobs, and buying houses. I mean, that is Katie. I just don't know. I guess you just don't sleep. So as a result, I'm very proud tonight, Katie, to have actually been asked to give you the 2022 Joan A. Dempsey Mentoring Award, and congratulations.
Hi, everyone. It's just so wonderful to be here with all of you this evening. I, of course, first want to thank INSA, Suzanne, Tish, Toya, Cassie, Rachel, all of the INSA staff and interns who plan and execute this event every year. We were talking before the event, and recognition in this community is really rare. And so this is just a really special event for all of us, and we're just really grateful for INSA and for you and for all the work that you do. I next want to thank the two people who probably traveled the furthest to be here this evening, my parents, Lyric and Gary Knockin. They can give a little wave. They for some reason decided to leave the sunny Arizona winter to come to DC in February, so they must really love me. And, they're always asking me what it is I really do for a living. And I told them that after meeting all of you here tonight, they're probably going to be more confused than when they arrived. So perhaps most of all, in the spirit of this award, I want to take some time to thank my own amazing mentors, many of whom are in this room, for showing me what mentorship really means. Before I met many of you, I used to think that good mentorship meant giving good advice. And you all have shown me that good mentors don't actually give advice at all, but instead kind of have this way of turning you inward and inviting you into this really special conversation with yourself. My favorite moment with a mentee is when a decision point is finally reached. In this moment, I think looks different for each of us, just kind of depending on where we are in our story. Should I take this job or that job? Should I move my family? Should I take time off, travel? And in this moment, a mentee will ask, what should I do? And I've begun to love answering this question with, what do you hope I'll tell you to do? And I love this moment because it's when a mentee finally realizes that they already know what they want and that the voice of guidance and of mentorship that they have been seeking is actually their own. This moment is really the birthplace of purpose and of creativity and change. So I owe an immense thank you to my mentors for helping me find and trust my own voice and for equipping me to help others do the same. And this, of course, includes the organizations that I've just been so privileged to build with really, really close friends of mine. First, Amazing Women of the IC, AWIC, needs no introduction at INSA, but which was founded by many of the senior IC women in this room, which helps and supports women throughout all stages of their personal and professional lives. Second, the Ira Butterfly podcast, co-created by Megan Jaffer and myself in collaboration with the National Security Institute, tells the stories of real women in our community who are navigating these decision points in their own lives. And lastly, the Command Purpose Foundation, co-founded by Erin Gerhelbling and myself in 2020, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports veteran women transitioning out of the active duty service and seeking to redefine their purpose and their value in the civilian world. There are so many in this room and not in this room who have supported these projects in some way, and if you're one of them, I just ask that you stand for a moment so we can recognize you. Thank you so much to all of you for all you've done and for all you continue to do. This work really matters, and this award really belongs to all of you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Katie. I am so proud of you. Just so proud. And I will try not to shed tears. I think Ellen's right, you are an old soul. I don't know how you do it all. We will now move on to the Science and Technology Award. Now, some of you may have noticed a change in this award title. What had been the Academic Award was revamped this year to better reflect our award namesake, renowned theoretical physicist Dr. Sidney Drell, whose legacy includes leading scientific and academic institutions, serving as a nuclear control arms expert, and advising presidents of both parties on satellite reconnaissance and other advanced intelligence programs. The newly named Science and Technology Award is open to researchers conducting innovative scientific or technological R&D that has the potential to significantly impact intelligence, defense, and/or homeland security. We had an incredible response from the national labs, from a number of innovative R&D firms, and I think you will agree that this year's recipient truly embodies the spirit of our namesake. Tonight, we are honored to have Dr. Sidney Drell's son, Dan Drell, here to introduce our honoree.
Thank you, Tish. It's a pleasure to be here, but I also want to say that it's an honor and a privilege to be here with such an extraordinary, distinguished and accomplished group of people, and I'm referring to all of you, the audience. It's my honor to present the Sidney D. Drell Science and Technology Award to Dr. Mary Lessa Howard. But before I do that, I want to add my congratulations to the other INSA awardees who are being recognized here tonight. All of you are exceptional, deserving, and have contributed significantly to the nation. I also note with some pleasure that 2/3 of you are women. And I think that's noteworthy and encouraging. So Marilessa Howard is a lead researcher with the Signal Processing and Applied Math Group at the Department of Energy's, and I have to get this right, Nevada National Security Site, and that's because for 27 years I knew it just as the Nevada Test Site. Marilessa brings unrivaled leadership, technical expertise to the scientific mission. Her innovative approach to image segmentation resulted in deliverables not previously achieved with image processing, and specifically, she led a 3-year project that resulted in the development of a spatially aware method for computer-detected material location. The tool developed in this project has been successfully deployed and licensed to other national labs as well as the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And if I have any capabilities as a prognosticator, doubtful, but I think this might actually find utility in other areas such as biology, and I'm going to see what I can do to promote that. However, it's not only her intellectual contributions, but the depth to which she cares about her work, her team, her country that set her apart. She's mentored multiple PhD candidates and serves as an advisor for doctoral research. And additionally, she leads a team of intern students each summer and facilitated virtual programs during the pandemic, a time that's been difficult for all of us. A passionate advocate of diversity, she also helped to get company policies modified to improve equity and inclusion initiatives. For all of these reasons, I'm proud to present the 2022 Sidney Drell Science and Technology Award to Dr. Marilessa Howard. And at this time, I would also like to invite Jay Tilden, the National Nuclear Security Administration's Deputy Undersecretary for Counterterrorism and Counterproliferation, to join me on stage for the award presentation photo.
Thank you for this incredible honor and privilege tonight. Dr. Sidney Drell was a remarkable scientific leader, as his son talked about. His prestigious and scientific legacy has contributions in high-energy physics and electron scattering, contributing to the birth of the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center. Furthermore, he advised the U.S. government, supported the foundation of the Scientific Jason Group, and participated in studies that led to the formation of the Stockpile Stewardship Program, the same program that employs me today. So I have Sid to thank in part for where I am today in my career, both because of his work in electron scattering, as well as his advisement on the future of the nuclear weapons complex. Before I continue, I will have an aside. As a mathematician who spent many years studying theater, I will say it has only taken 2 years in a pandemic with minimal access to public speaking opportunities to completely strip me of my confidence to be up here tonight. Forgive me for using my notes. I feared that without my notes, I might resort to math jokes. And a huge thank you to Lieutenant General Berrier for already breaking the ice with a math equation. I am so excited. I feel like I need to rewrite my speech really quick, but I'll continue with what I have here. So my passion in working for the Nevada National Security Site is a combination of the mission, the research, and the people. The mission. My father and grandfathers all served in the military, and working for a component of the Department of Energy's mission gives me the sense that I, too, am contributing to the betterment of our community. 2, the research. The research and experiments are engaging, challenging, and extremely demanding of focus. They explain why I've been adding gray hairs to my head. Three, the community of people here in this area is really the cream of the crop. They are supportive and willing to teach me as a mathematician about their disciplines that they studied years for. They teach me in a respectful manner, including nuclear physics, electron scattering, electrical engineering, optical fibers. I learned so much as a mathematician now, and they do it so well. It is for these reasons that I love what I do, and I am thankful for all the opportunities that I've been given. And if I were to give advice or encouragement to folks who dare to dream big dreams, it's this. It's sometimes the smallest moments in life that often have the greatest impacts. Keep an eye out for them. So like when I was in high school and a guidance counselor told me math is hard, I decided to add more math classes to my schedule against her expert opinion and advice. And if you subscribe to the parallel universe theory, there is a Mary Lisa out there right now who stopped pursuing mathematics that day. And in undergrad, when sociology department sent me emails every other week about socials that they were having, I went and declared mathematics as a major to avoid all social interactions. So again, there may be a parallel universe out there where Mary Lisa became an extrovert and was a sociology major. Props to you all on extrovertedness. And when a talented classmate told me in undergrad that statistics was the hardest class he ever took, I went and signed up. I decided to jump in, and I found a passion that I didn't know existed within me. It was these little, separately insignificant moments that imparted so many of the consequences of my future. I am a product of every interaction and every person in my life, each one who continually inspires me to be better and stronger. My parents pushed me to be my best and taught me humanity along the way. My brother shares with me his enormous heart for others. My sister, who's in law enforcement, shares with me an understanding of being a female in a typically male-dominated career. My husband has never asked me to choose between my family and my career and has supported my decisions along the way. And my kids have patience with me that far exceeds what I deserve. Only in recent years have I realized how significant an impact that mentoring has had on me, that my mentors mentored me with such finesse, I didn't even know I was being mentored most of the time. My professors, and in particular John Johnson, Dr. Michael Reverest, and Dr. John Bardsley, had a profound impact on both my education and my character. These people graciously spent time teaching me and leading me, knew when to push me and when to let me go on my own. My mentors in my career, Dr. Aaron Lutman, Dr. Eric Machoro, Kathy Breeding, Robert Koss, Dr. Reed Patterson, and Dr. Jeremy Danielson, to name a few, all gave me pathways and opportunities to break out of my shell, bringing me to where I am today. I am here because of the village of people, just like Tish said, who raised and guided me. From everything I know about Sid Drell, he too built his legacy upon being surrounded by a great community of family, colleagues, and mentors. My story is only but one in a sea of scientists and technologists in this community. I encourage you to reach out to your local STEM colleague and friend, learn a little bit more about their story. Please be gentle. If they are an introvert like me, 2 years in captivity have them more apprehensive with their social skills than ever before. So be gentle. But again, I am exceptionally honored to accept this award. Thank you to INSA and everyone who's here tonight. And congratulations to all of you as well. Thank you very much.
Mary Lisa, congratulations. And I have to say, I think you could have minored in the theater. I do. That was well done. Well done. As an engineer who tried to minor in theater, yeah, the last 2 years were tough for all of us for different reasons. But congratulations. It is now my pleasure to welcome John Doyen, INSA Executive Vice President, to the stage to introduce the Richard J. Kerr Government Award. John.
Thank you, Tish. And wow, what an incredible evening this has already been. I'm just so motivated and pleased to be with you all tonight and glad that you're here. It's really inspiring to hear about the great work that's being done across our community. It's now my honor, truly is, to present the Richard J. Kerr Government Award to Mary Ann Kissinger, a requirements and integration analyst with the Source Mission Integration Office at NGA. Yes. Ms. Your turn, you'll be up here in a moment. So, Ms. Kissinger works across organizational boundaries to address the geo-collection needs for 3 foreign partner initiatives. Under her leadership, NGA re-energized a partnership that had gone stale, resulting in a 50% increase in GeoInt sharing. Ms. Kissinger also helped identify cost-neutral technical solutions for integrating data into existing collection tools, saving the government nearly $2 million in redundant software development. During the pandemic, she quickly stood up an open mapping enclave team that drove the identification of hundreds of transportation features in Libya and South America, supporting Department of Defense and humanitarian efforts. Additionally, she spearheaded a collection and analytic modeling tool which will support a 300% increase in GeoInt data over the next decade. A tireless advocate for the workforce, Ms. Kissinger has volunteered at LGBTQ Pride Month celebrations, serves on an employee diversity council, spearheaded studies on employee retention and culture, and has planned and supported branch, division, and directorate level morale events. Her commitment to the workforce, innovative thinking, and ability to build and lead high-performance teams has greatly benefited the U.S. national security mission. So it's my privilege to present the Richard J. Kerr Government Award to Mary Ann Kissinger. And Admiral Sharp, if you'd like to join us on stage as well for the presentation.
That's definitely the highlight of my career right there. Good evening. First, I would like to say thank you to INSA and everyone else involved in putting together this wonderful event. I'm just in true awe of events like this. I would also like to congratulate all the awardees for all your exceptional accomplishments, and it's been such a pleasure getting to talk to you. I'm very grateful to have received this award, which is a testament to the kind of leadership I've had at NGA. I started my career off in St. Louis with an internship during college at a career fair. And I saw the NGA booth, and I walked up and I said, "What in the world is geospatial intelligence?" Turns out it has everything to do with the world and understanding the world. A few years later, I moved to the Washington, D.C. area to work at our headquarters, and I realized quickly how people are always put first here, which was mentioned in a lot of the previous remarks, of a quality of being a good leader is putting people first. And this was consistently demonstrated by my previous, current supervisors and mentors, some being exceptional women leaders who are here tonight. My previous supervisor, who's here, Dr. Heather Martin, nominated me for this award, showing how much effort she and the rest of our leadership chain put into recognizing and supporting our team. This team that I worked with, and that I'm actually now the supervisor of, is an exceptional team. Therefore, I'd like to accept this award on behalf of all my teammates who every day perform at the highest level and really create an environment that makes you want to come to work every day. As mentioned before, I think to be a great leader is to be transparent, empowering, and to put people above everything. And that is what I've fortunately experienced with my time so far in the intelligence community. It is an honor to work in this community where I witness daily the incredible accomplishments of such a professional and dedicated workforce, and where I learn something new truly every day. I look forward to helping our future leaders reach their potential and go forth and do great things. Wonderful advice the Honorable Sue Gordon used to sign off with. Lastly, I would like to say thank you first to my fiance, John, for your endless encouragement and for being my biggest cheerleader. Also, thank you to my family, my parents, for being here, who have provided endless love and support and who think I have the coolest job. And as of tonight, I think have a much better idea of what I do for a living, instead of jokingly saying saving the world. And to my brother, who is also here, I'm so glad we moved to the DC area at the same time and to see you grow in your law enforcement career. As a side note, the last few weeks, of course, being nervous for an event and trying to think of what exactly to say in a speech, thinking that this would be very stressful. And turns out that today I decided to do a major thing in the morning and spend all day wedding dress shopping with my mom. So that turned out to be, this turned out to be much less stressful. But it turned out well because I did find a dress, so. Thank you again to INSA for this award. I will carry on the leadership ideals of the Richard J. Kerr Award as I continue my career in the intelligence community. Thank you again very much.
So before I present the next award, I just wanted to mention to the INSA team that I have a new sponsorship idea. We're always looking for creative things that corporate members can sponsor. And I would like to request that we have the tissue pack sponsorship on everyone's chair, because every year I need them. I don't know about you all. But anyway, I'm really in awe of the accomplishments of our honorees, and our next recipient is truly an extraordinary individual. It is my privilege to present the Edwin H. Land Industry Award to Jamie Erebus Starkiel, a data scientist and software engineer at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. Jamie revolutionized the organization's Technology Leaders and Scholars program, known as ATLAS, an internship and mentorship program open to students from HBCUs, Hispanic-serving institutions, and tribal colleges and universities. Under his direction, ATLAS has become a cornerstone of the lab's efforts to build and grow a diverse workforce. Jamie oversaw the complete overhaul of program offerings. He looked for ways to improve the intern experience and expanded eligibility to all STEM undergraduate and graduate students year-round. He also quantified the program's impact and actively disseminated reports to leaders and hiring managers across the organization. As a result, staff engagement substantially increased, and ATLAS currently boasts the highest conversion rate to full-time hires of any APL intern program. Additionally, Jamie makes mentorship a priority. In addition to facilitating the weekly activities for a cohort of 50 or more interns, he mentored 11 students from the ATLAS program, conducted check-ins, career coaching, presentation practice, and more. It is my honor to present the 2002 Edwin Land Industry Award to Jamie Erebus Starkiel. Join me on stage, please.
speech here. So thank you for that amazing introduction. And thank you to the INSA team for putting together this event. Really enjoyed my time so far today. And it's an honor to be chosen by the selection committee to receive this award. And for me, this recognition is an affirmation of my core value of service. Service both to country and service to community. But it's also a recognition of the legacy of the Atlas program. I may be accepting this award today, but in the words of Isaac Newton, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Giants like Dr. Gwendolyn Boyd, who founded the program over 20 years ago, long before diversity and inclusion was a mainstream topic of discussion in the workforce. It's giants like Dr. Nakia Brooks, who further cultivated the program through fearless grassroots leadership. And there's giants like Laura Mickey, who I had the pleasure of co-chairing the program with for a number of years. I'd also like to recognize my undergraduate alma mater, Morgan State University. In addition to a quality education that's allowed me to flourish as a data scientist and as a software engineer, Morgan exposed me firsthand to the importance of HBCUs and how they accelerate economic mobility for many low-income, first-generation, and underrepresented Americans. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that these all-welcoming institutions continue to persevere today despite the challenges and threats we're seeing in the news. But I digress. Chairing Atlas has been a truly fulfilling experience, and it's allowed me to grow as a leader. During my time with the program, we were able to provide internships to over 200 different students, many of whom were embarking on their first internship and who now have a successful career in STEM. None of that would have been possible, though, without the people who make our Atlas go round. So I'd like to thank Talent Services and the college office for being a critical talent acquisition partner. And I'd also like to thank APL senior leadership for funding and also for supporting our Atlas platform. I'd also like to thank the numerous numbers of staff, hosting staff, mentors, speakers, facilitators, panelists, representatives, everyone who's put in to really make this a great thing and has given their time to growing future leaders. And last, and not least, I'd like to thank the current and past members of the Atlas Planning Committee. Without your year-round drive and selfless dedication, this award and the program's success would have never happened. So much like the instant photography pioneered by Edwin Land, who this award is named after, the light you've casted has allowed the program to develop into something truly special. So with that, I'd like to end on a thought. And unless you've been living under a rock, or I guess for this room, in an empty skiff, you see that we're living in a very unexpected and challenging time. And our adversaries and our competitors are producing more scientists and engineers than we have people. Is it not imperative that we maximize the potential of our workforce? Thank you.
Congratulations again, Jamie. Very well said. Kind of like that empty skiff remark as well. We are closing in, but we are not to the end yet. I would like to welcome to the stage former INSA President Chuck Alsop, who will present the Homeland Security Award.
So good evening, everyone. Come on, come on. So thank you, Tish. So Scott, I'm going to come back to a couple of things here in a minute, but you gave me a minor panic attack talking about Ranger School, okay? But we're going to come back to something else later, okay? So tonight's ceremony is a little bit bittersweet for me. Sweet, because this is such a fun, great event. to honor young professionals who are excelling in their trade. So congratulations to all of you. And I'll get back to Shadi here in a minute, okay? So a little bit bitter because, as you know, our award namesake, Senator Warner, John Warner, passed away last May, at the youthful age of 94. But what an amazing life he led. He was a man of extraordinary accomplishment and ability, an esteemed 5-term senator from Virginia, a Navy secretary, who I think is still well respected in the Navy. Right, Bob? Oh, yeah. An assistant U.S. attorney, a World War II veteran, a Korean War veteran, a respected statesman, and above all, a patriot. And he was the 2009 recipient of the William Oliver Baker Award, which was the inspiration for these awards. Senator Warner was a longtime friend and a mentor to me before, during, and after my brief tenure on the Senate Armed Services Committee, of which he was the chairman 3 times. I am grateful and humbled to be able to represent him, and thankful that we will continue to honor his legacy through this annual award ceremony. With that, it is now my privilege to present the John W. Warner Homeland Security Award to Shadi El-Reda, a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations at the Department of Homeland Security. Special Agent El-Reda's dedication to the mission, and as I read some of these details of this dedication to the mission, I want you to remember dominant sense of duty, okay? So, Special Agent El-Reda's dedication to the mission, proven tenacity, and exemplary service embody HSI's core values of honor, service, and integrity. Whether defending American industry from strategic adversaries or thwarting illicit schemes involving transnational criminal organizations, he consistently tackles tough challenges to ensure protection of the homeland. Some of his key accomplishments include leading investigations that thwarted efforts to traffic weapons and technology, resulting in the indictment, conviction, and sentencing of 3 Iranian nationals for illegally exporting aerospace technology, as well as a U.S. citizen for his role in exporting hundreds of firearms to Balkan organized crime syndicates. Additionally, Special Agent El-Reda shut down an internet site operated by a Chinese organization which sold and smuggled more than 300 firearm silencers to suspects in the United States. He serves as a member of the HSI Detroit Special Response Team, which handles the agency's highest risk law enforcement operations, and recently graduated from the SRT certification course, a physically and mentally grueling training regimen. His demonstrated initiative and results-oriented mindset, and remember, dominant sense of duty, along with his selfless willingness to take on the tough assignments and produce outstanding results, have directly contributed to the success of the Homeland Security Investigations mission and the security of our nation. It is my honor to present the John W. Warner Homeland Security Award to Special Agent Shadi El-Reda. And Tish mentioned Steve Francis in the introduction too, and it's my pleasure to also invite Steve up here to help celebrate Shadi's accomplishments and to help present the award.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, sir, for the introduction. I'm truly honored and humbled to be receiving the prestigious John W. Warner Homeland Security Award. This award is special because I know the sacrifices and commitment made on a daily basis by all the men and women in the IC and national security and law enforcement community. So I'm honored to be nominated. I mean, let alone being nominated as an honor, and being a recipient is a true honor and very humbling. I'd like to start off by thanking INSA for putting together this ceremony and this opportunity. I'd like to thank Director Francis for being here tonight. Director Francis, I became a special agent for HSI in 2018, and he was, at that time, he was the special agent in charge of HSI Detroit. I don't know why, but he decided he wanted to push to get me hired with HSI and keep me in Detroit, and I'm forever grateful for that. Thank you. I'd like to thank HSI Detroit's, I don't know where he is, Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Jared Murphy, right there, for nominating me, sir. Thank you. This was a surprise. I got a phone call 2 minutes prior saying, hey, you get an email for an award you're receiving. So thank you, sir, and thanks for always being just pushing us to be innovative and thinking outside the box when it comes to these investigations. They're extremely complex, and without your leadership, it would be hard to do what we do. I'd also like to thank Group Supervisor Lisa Keith, who's also here. Thanks for traveling to DC. I know it was hard to do an overnight in DC from Detroit, but Lisa is probably one of the best agents and best supervisors I've ever worked for. Her motivation is extremely contagious, and also just allows us to take these investigations to the next level. I thought about kind of what inspired my career. My career started in 2008 as a local police officer in South Carolina, and along the way, I served as a federal air marshal, and now as a HSI special agent. It's my last academy. I thought about kind of like who inspired me, what inspired me, and there's been tons of people along the way, and I can name a lot and talk about a lot, but I'll be here forever and I ramble on. So I'll talk about kind of what I go back to my first police job interview, and they asked me why I wanted to be a police officer, and at the time I thought it was kind of not the greatest response, but it was simple and honest. I just wanted to make a difference. And that's held true since up until today. I've been fortunate enough to work with dozens of law enforcement and law enforcement agents, officers, federal, state, local, analysts, support personnel who've all just proven that they wake up every single day and want to make a difference as well. And I'm fortunate enough to work for an organization like HSI. I get to work with leaders like Director Francis, ASAC Murphy, GS Keith, who show up every single day like it's their first day on the job. They bring an energy to HSI, and my hopes, and as I progress through my career, is to bring the same energy and inspiration to others that come before me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck, for that heartfelt and heartwarming tribute to Senator Warner and Special Agent Alreda. Congratulations again. Just hearing the write-up and reading what is in the program, you are making a difference. You are contributing to the security of our nation. So thank you for what you're doing. It is now my privilege to welcome the former Deputy Director of Central Intelligence, former NSA Director, and retired Admiral Bill Studeman. That is one person, 3 titles. I could throw in Acting Director of Central Intelligence, a whole bunch of others. Admiral Studeman is here to present the final award of this evening. It is the William O. Studeman Military Award.
Well, what a privilege it is for me at my advanced age to have a chance to be here tonight. I'm looking around the room. I think I'm probably the oldest person here. I make that point by saying that I'm coming up on my 60th year in the intelligence profession. So I see the young people doing the math here, trying to figure out what my real age is. I'm taking advantage here of, and I want to make a quick aside because we have been through one of the most dangerous periods. We are in one of the most dangerous periods of national security that I've seen. I lived through the Cold War. I would say that the combination of adversaries and the general world situation is the most complex and dangerous I've ever seen. For those of you struggling with that problem, I congratulate you. I work with other people, former retired people who are wringing their hands over these kinds of things that are going on and hoping that you're doing a good job. Now, INSA knows I never appear before any INSA forum without talking about things that relate to my 10 principles of intelligence. Ellen McCarthy's standing up. She was going to. And, the first principle of intelligence is that professionals have the obligation to achieve deep penetration of the adversary. Pretty simple kind of rule. That's the business we're in, the prime directive. Achievement of deep penetration of the adversary. You can't always do it, but that's the obligation that you have. So there are a couple of three codicil sub-principles that go under that, and I just want to remind the professionals in this room tonight, before I do the presentation of this wonderful awardee, of these sub-principles, because they relate to deterrence, they relate to escalation and stability management, and they relate to the threat of conventional war and the full spectrum of warfare that we face today with cyber in the middle of all of that. And the three sub-principles are: focus on what the adversary fears, focus on what the adversary knows about us, the counterintelligence and security mission, and focus on targets that count. So it's just this three simple ideas that go along with all of that. So let me now turn to our very distinguished awardee for tonight. I think it's important that your office colleagues are present here to recognize your achievements. Thank you for coming. So I'm delighted to present the military award to U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant Elizabeth Harris, Superintendent for the All-Domain Overhead Cooperative Operations Group in the NRO's Management Integration Directorate. I'm not sure what the acronym for that is, but it must be pretty impressive. As Operations Superintendent, she manages national and tactical interoperability challenges, data transport architecture, and enterprise-wide modernization. I'm always amazed at how these write-ups are so wonderfully unclassified and in the way in which they are. So, additionally, Master Sergeant Harris leads strategic engagement efforts between the military services and foreign partners. Notably, she orchestrated an allied sensor demonstration which expanded ConOps, for those of you civilians, concept of operations, by synchronizing 12 air and sea assets, boosting performance by 50%. In coordination with the Navy Air Program, she led the first sensor test to determine the altitude and environmental survivability of an NRO cooperative sensor. Again, a wonderful term here. The significant accomplishment resulted in the addition of sensor and air platforms performing special access missions. Additionally, her team deployed and exercised the National Reconnaissance Office geolocation standard objectives for rotary aircraft sensor integration. Her leadership facilitated the first known successful geolocation test using rotary aircraft, enhancing tactical sensor range by 600%. An avid volunteer, Master Sergeant Harris was awarded the Presidential Volunteer Service Award for over 500 community service hours in 1 year. Additional duties included developing and implementing workplace training plans, facilitating wing-level functions, and supporting her team as acting first sergeant. A recognized leader and innovator, Master Sergeant Harris has garnered many awards, including the NRO's Director's Circle Award, presented to only the top 1.5% of performers in the National Reconnaissance Office. She's a talented, selfless professional who has made significant contributions to our national security mission. So I'm extraordinarily proud to present the 2022 Military Award to Master Sergeant Elizabeth L. Harris. And if Director Scalise would also please join us on stage.
No pressure. So I'm glad everybody has broken the ice with this, but intelligence professionals, introverts. I will stumble through this. And a lot of what I did to earn this award has already been stated. I'm going to try to talk around it a little bit more to make it a little more relatable. So I am honored to have my work recognized by INSA. Also, let me recognize the fellow award recipients. Your accomplishments are truly amazing. This is a tremendous accomplishment, and it is easily one of the top accomplishments of my career. So when I've been asked what it's like to work at the National Reconnaissance Office, I usually say something like, imagine the things you see on TV, the satellites, the telescopes, the space rockets. It's kind of like that. But then I say, it's actually way cooler. And while I can't talk about a lot of the things that we do, I can talk about some of the things that enabled me to earn this award. So I have a couple of teams that work under me at NRO, and we focus on, again, already been stated, national and tactical interoperability challenges. So this basically means that we have the best data, and we move that to the people that need it the most very quickly. So being in the DoD and the IC, this typically means to the warfighter and to the policymaker. A little bit more about what was stated in the pamphlet. So my teams worked to design and develop a concept of operation that brought together the 12 air and sea assets in an exercise to enable global communications and geolocations. So one note that wasn't in there is that we did this in under an hour. So the task was given to us. We weren't sure of what the outcome that they wanted, but we put something together and we achieved 100% success. And so as it was already stated, it boosted performance for all future capabilities of the same type by 50%. So this was a huge win for the DoD and the IC. None of this would have been possible without my team of experts. I work with just truly brilliant people at the NRO, scientists, analysts, engineers, and they have really enabled me to earn this award. So in addition, I'd like to thank a few people that are here today. The director of the NRO, Dr. Chris Scalise, the director of the Operations Integration Office, Colonel Enrique Costas, and my group chief of the All-Domain Overhead Cooperative Operations Team, Major Cody Lewis. And then also a big thank you to my family and my wife Maggie that's here today. Without the ability to be creative and innovative at the NRO, you really give us a lot of leeway to be able to just kind of spread our wings and create without limits. So I thank you for that ability to do that. And again, thank you to INSA for this award. Thank you.
thank you, Admiral Suderman, for being here to present the award, and congratulations, Master Sergeant Harris. I'm delighted to be able to welcome you all shortly to the dessert reception, but there's a few things that I wanted to mention beforehand. It takes a team to pull off an evening like this evening, and I'd like to thank Rachel Thompson, who is assigned to INSA from the SkillBridge program, for coordinating a big portion of this evening, as well as folks from our events department, Toya Cribbs and Noel Hardesty. But I'd also like to thank General Berrier for being here. I know he's got a lot on his plate, as well as some other agency directors, and also Director Scalise, Admiral Sharp, Deputy Undersecretary Tilden, and Director Francis for joining us tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. And this evening would not be possible without our sponsors, Esri, Hawkeye 360, Leidos, Mantech, Penn State Applied Research Lab, for your generous support of this evening's program. So thank you also to Taylor Felt and Cassie Crotty for being here this evening and helping us as our INSA graduate student interns, which really make the world go round. So let's give them a round of applause as well. And thank you to our award recipients and the families who have supported them to help keep our nation safe. And as we exit the auditorium, I would like to ask General Berrier, Tish, and our other agency directors to join us on stage for a few photographs. The ceremony is adjourned. Please enjoy our wonderful reception. Compliments of Esri. Thanks again for coming here this evening.